We built the first pet bottle school 8 years ago. We never bothered to publish anything on that. Then they started copying that in Brazil and South America. Though pet bottle sounds very interesting as far as people are concerned in the cities. I was not concerned really with the pet bottle. The pet bottle was only incidental. What really concerned me was the cost of construction. Cost of construction is prohibitive these days. And one of the most important factors in that governing that cost is steel. The real innovation is not about the PET bottle. Though it is considered to be eco-friendly and getting the waste off the streets and all that. What is really important and which nobody is stressing on is the use of nylon fishnet. It replaces steel. It is 1% the cost of the steel. Supposing for a house you need 30,000 rupees worth of steel, the nylon fishnet value will be 300 rupees to do the same job. This was what people are missing out on. They all focus on the PET bottle, how beautiful, what a good idea, but nobody is focusing on the idea of the fishnet. And the fishnet, when linked with the PET bottle, makes the house earthquake proof. The PET bottle by itself will crumble the moment there's an earthquake. The fishnet links in the bottle cap to bottle cap, and then becomes a continuous mass. Everybody has missed this point. Everybody is focusing, oh beautiful PET bottle, you pass the earthquake test. The PET bottle, brick, stone, nothing can pass the earthquake test of 9.8 on the Richter scale, except the fishnet was there. And this main point is missed in every article written about this process. Okay. In fact, what I've done is I have patented the process, materials and the process, because nobody in the world has used fishnet in place of steel. And I talk about this again and again, but everybody bypasses that. They go back and talk about the bottles. How nice it is to use bottles. It is nice, but the real thing is, if you are in an environment, say in a village environment, you cannot get bottles there. Nobody drinks bottled water in the villages. You can use normal clay bricks with the fishnet. You can use the normal stones. Now I was just now in communication with Nepal for the earthquake. They told me in the remote villages we can't get bottles. So I said, okay, we'll use the local stone with the fishnet. Right now I'm shipping hundreds of tons of fishnet into Nepal to build hundreds of houses with this fishnet. So I said, we'll use the local stone, and I'll show you how you bind it with the fishnet. It's the fishnet that makes the house so durable in earthquakes. But everybody has gone away from that. They're all focusing on the bottle. I said, supposing you're living in a little village, where will you get bottles? You can't travel to the city and bring 10 bottles back, 20 bottles back. You'll never have a house ready. But clay bricks, stone is available everywhere. Even mud bricks, and you can use fishnet to bind it together and to bind it to the ceiling. And that is where the actual innovation lies. It's a normal fishnet, but the only specification I ask for when you're using the bottles is 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters web and web design, because that will then link with into the neck of the bottle, of the water bottle. But if you're using brick, any dimension is fine. Because most sea fishnets are made from nylon 6. And the common fishnet used is nylon 6, 210 linear, 3 ply. And the size depends on whatever fish they wish to catch. The size of the net. So just using the normal fishnet, you can do this.
Okay.
With clay bricks, any size of fishnet is fine. I have patented the process, I published the process, it's available to anybody who's keen. I'm not charging for it. I'm not even charging a license fee. I want this to be used for the common man. The reason I patented the process are two. First is, nobody else can patent it and then charge people for it, because I hold the patent. Two is, by holding the patent of the procedure, if somebody builds it in the wrong fashion and it collapses, if it's not done as per the patent, then it cannot be. The design cannot be held responsible. So one has to follow the patented process to get the strength.
Okay.
So that's the reason I had it patented. But This, in fact, my next project, since you asked about future projects, is to build a bridge, an 80-foot span bridge with fishnet and bottles, which can take 70 tons load. I plan to build it here. I was just telling my wife, we'll build it here. And then test it for load, 70 tons load. Then construction worldwide will change. In fact, I built a column out of fishnet and bottles. You know, instead of having steel in the concrete columns, I made a concrete column with fishnet and bottles. And you can see that, in fact, in this complex we have one. 25 feet in the air, we put 4 columns and we put an overhead tank. It's in the complex, that's the water tank. It's there, 25 feet into the air. And I built the same thing in the Sundarbans, which felt the tremors of the Nepal earthquake. Nothing happened, no cracks, no fissures, no dislodging. So it just goes to show it's stronger than steel. You see what happens when you impact steel. If there's concrete in this, in a slab, and steel inside the concrete, and you create an impact, the steel inside vibrates, causing more cracks, like 1,000 little hammers. When you impact a concrete slab with fishnet in it, it doesn't vibrate. So only the direct force of the impact can crack the concrete. But in steel, in a steel RCC slab, the steel acts as an enemy to the concrete because it vibrates by itself on the impact. Same thing with hot and cold. In extreme heat, the steel expands, cracking. In extreme cold, the steel contracts, cracking. Because the steel coefficient of expansion is different from concrete. Whereas the nylon, it doesn't expand, it doesn't contract, so it doesn't crack. I don't know why nobody has thought of this. It's such a simple remedy. When you look at the construction of the net, over thousands of years of people fishing, they have perfected a net which, I don't know if you're aware, but in the Bay of Bengal, just off our own Chennai coast, there is a system of trawling called pair trawling. Have you heard of that? Pair trawling. Pair trawlers, there are 2 trawler boats, 100 kilometers apart, linked with a net. And they keep sailing and coming towards each other, converging towards each other, and pulling billions of tons of seawater and fish in this net. And eventually when they close together, they lift the net and they get hundreds and hundreds of tons of fish. Now, by thinking of pair trawling, I realized that this is actually in itself has been perfected for strength. Otherwise it could never be dragging 100 kilometers of seawater. So obviously this is one of the most finer designs. That, of course, that will not stop me from trying to redesign. And what I have actually redesigned in a way is, after placing the fishnet in the roof for the, instead of steel, I have taken the same fishnet and twisted it into like ropes and used that as tie beams. For like in a normal RCC construction, you have the thicker rods and you have the thinner rods. Like you have 16 mm rods and you will have 8 mm rods or 6 mm rods crossing them. So I'm using the normal net like the thin rods and the twisted nylon fishnet which acts as the thicker rods. Now that is made into a rope. That is an innovation again, where we make using the same nylon, the same filament strength, and having it machine twisted into a rope. It will be far stronger than what the hand twisted rope is. But again, knowing industry, the moment you start specifically manufacturing this nylon for a construction, the price will shoot up. It will equal the price of steel within 6 months. Nylon will come into demand. So by keeping it as low key as possible, that is a simple, humble fisherman's net, it makes it affordable. As you know how the market works, is demand and supply and demand. The moment there's a demand for this, it will skyrocket. However, no matter how much they try, they can't go from 1% to 100%, which is now it is 1% of the cost. You know that hospital I showed you, the picture of the hospital, 7,000 square feet hospital. The whole roof is made from RCC with fishnet, and that cost of that fishnet is 1,500 rupees. That's all. 7,000 square feet of building. If you just think 1,500 rupees, 1,500 rupees of net, and that would have cost me lakhs and lakhs of rupees, hundreds of thousands of rupees of steel and then bending the steel, bar bending costs, cutting of steel, binding it, be astronomical. For 7,000 square feet, you show me where you can put up an RCC roof with 1,500 rupees worth of fishnet. Therein lies the beauty. When people saw my cost of my construction, they said this is not possible. After the earthquake, the earthquake was felt in the Sundarbans, which is a very unstable area. I don't know if you are aware. The soil structure for 2,000 feet is only clay. There's no rock at all. So it shook very badly in the quake. And in that same hospital complex, I have a tower again, water tower, which is 4 columns of steel, of bottle and fishnet with no steel. No cracks, no fissures. In the hospital, we checked the roof, we checked the walls, we checked everything. No cracks, no fissures. Whereas actually the local people who built their houses out of stone and concrete had all cracks and roofs that caved. Even light roofing had caved in. So it goes to show that this is so durable. And as innovation is now, I'm trying to do a calculation whereby using the same fishnet, if I can build that span of bridge, 80 feet span, like 25 meter span, which is what you normally find for your MRTS. Those spans are all 25 meter spans. Can you imagine if you bring down the cost of steel from 100% to 1%? How affordable it will be, construction, everything. If you take the carbon footprint to produce that much nylon, fishnet, and the carbon footprint to produce the steel required, it's astronomical. You're getting the ores, transporting it to the factory, refining it.
How about using carbon fibers?
Very expensive. Carbon fiber is very strong, I agree, but it's more expensive than steel. I don't know if you're aware. Graphite is also what we call malleable. Malleable can be made into sheets, ductile and malleable. Ductile means more than carbon fiber. That's something called graphene. You can cover a football field with graphene, and the whole total weight will be 125 grams. Can you imagine a material so thin so strong that it can be made so thin that a whole football field, and when you weigh that, it's 125 grams. But it is prohibitively expensive. Well, as nylon fishnet, 30 years ago it was very expensive. Today nylon fishnet is so common, so easily available. Nylon is used in everything. Yeah, you see, I've already just started experimenting on one thing. I cannot speak too much about it because I have not tested it for strength. But using the same PET bottle, I have created a honeycomb, placing 4 bottles like this. 2 small bottles, half-liter bottles horizontally, and longitudinally 2 1-liter bottles, and cementing it like a normal wall. And in the center, the cavity formed in the center, filling it with biscuit wrappers, chip packets, empty packets, all plastic nuisance garbage which cannot be got rid of. So that fills the inside of the wall, inside honeycomb cavity of the wall. I have an example here. We've done a small test of it. But I'm going to have to build a house out of it and test the house. For earthquake resistant, for heat, for this, for that, everything. But the honeycombing effect will give a lot. You think of a hollow brick, the cement hollow bricks we have. But that is all cement and gravel. But inside actually, if we have plastic waste, it acts as an insulation one. 2, it gets rid of all the waste from the streets. You can even inside these cavities, you can put building rubble. You can put anything except organic waste, because organic waste will decay and cause smell. And you can put anything except organic waste into these cavities. So you can get rid of so much of the world's garbage, which is, even you can take your electronic garbage, like computers, it can be chopped, pulverized and just filled into this, no problem. I won't say we are more flexible. What I'll say is the net makes a building into one cube.
Okay.
So even if tilted, it will tilt like a cube. Whereas in all construction, at every joint becomes a weak spot. So when it tilts, what we call the G-force on the walls and the G-force on the roof vary, because they are 2 separate entities, and that's what causes the collapse. Whereas here, the fishnet brings it into one mass.
Okay.
So this is a cube. The whole thing will tilt. Whereas if you look at films on collapsing buildings and earthquakes, you'll find the columns walking like legs. Like a person walking, it will take like a step forward and buckle at the knee, and the whole building comes down. People don't realize, but all these new buildings, fancy buildings they put up with car parks underneath stilt are the weakest buildings, because there is no filler between the gaps of, because the cars have to park. So when an earthquake comes, it is like having a building on matchsticks. The whole weight of the building, and at the moment there's a shift, those collapse completely, those columns collapse, because the whole weight of the building comes on them, and the angle has changed. The G-force has changed on that, and that is what creates the collapse of the building. Everybody today goes for these buildings and they pay so much, and I say you are actually putting your life in danger. Should there be one tremor, those stilts will, slitted legs, columns will come, just collapse, and the whole building will fall down. So it's the question of durability. It's a question of, now a house that can tilt sideways, you can still live in the house, it's tilted, because it's still one mass that will not collapse, because the net is holding it in place. So it's, I won't say it's flexible, I would say it actually creates a cuboidal form.